The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
All right. So we know that the Vancouver Canucks are going to play the Nashville Predators in round 1 of the NHL Playoffs. But how do these two teams stack up? Let's talk about it, baby. Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's episode, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, the first playoff preview edition of Locked On Canucks. Woo! Let's go, baby. Hey, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go subscribe or follow us on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, got to let you know today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go now for free on the App Store or Google Play. Love myself some Monopoly Go, but you know what I love even more than that is playoff hockey, baby. And we know that your Vancouver Canucks are playing the Nashville Predators in round 1. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. I think these teams might be closer than most think. Again, a lot of people thought the Predators were the easy opponent in round 1, but let's dive into some of the details. Before we do that, let me introduce my co-host, rocking the Cody Lawless shirt. That guy is the Pride of Mission. Kyle Bhawan, the Pride of Surrey. Kyle, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, speaking of the mission, man, the mission starts very soon for the Vancouver Canucks. Maybe as soon as Sunday? Could the playoffs start on Sunday? Who knows? Literally nobody knows. That being said, we do know who we're playing, and it is the Nashville Predators, which means every other team in the Western Conference outside the Canucks and Nashville are playing contenders, you know what I'm saying? And I know Nashville's playing a contender in Vancouver, but let's be honest and let's be real. In the beginning of September, these two teams were not guarantees to get into the playoffs, right? But the other 6, all those teams could be in the Western Conference Finals, if you really think about it. Straight up.
Yeah.
It's just the truth. Now, I will say this, Trevor. Again, Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the link in the bio. Join the Discord. Join the conversation. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. I'll say this, and I want to ask you off the top, right? Do you kind of wish the Canucks got a quote-unquote tougher opponent to help set them up for a longer run, to maybe allow them to possibly not take their foot off the pedal here? Because in recent history, especially over the last 30 games, the Canucks have been a little bit up and down. You know what I'm saying? Is there a chance that they take Nashville lightly? Because I saw one person who I sometimes trust online with their hockey opinions say that Nashville kind of has an AHL forward group in their bottoms. If you look at their team on paper, it's not that sexy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's not that sexy because there's not a lot of household names, but, make no mistake. I think this Predators team is actually a lot better than people think. And, they're more than the sum of their parts. I mean, this team was picked to be outside of the playoffs for a reason. Might I add that both of these teams were on the outside looking in, according to odds makers, back in August and September. Most people were picking the Canucks and Predators to miss the playoffs, and here they are facing off in round 1. But you look at Nashville, and again, when I talk about them being more than the sum of their parts, look at their first line. I mean, Philip Forsberg's an obvious star, 48 goals. Ryan O'Reilly turning back the clock, had a fantastic season, a nice 69 points. And Gustav Nyquist, in my opinion, might be the most underrated playmaker in the NHL this season. I mean, I think most people have ridden this guy off. He'd bounced around from team to team. Gustav Nyquist had 53 assists and 75 points this season. I mean, that top line for Nashville was rocking and rolling, especially down the stretch. They were red hot, and they were really good on the power play too. And when you look at the rest of their forward group, I think they've got a good mix of young guys who are definitely not household names, like Tommy Novak, career AHLer, who's kind of busted out. Luke Evangelista, a young player who had almost 40 points. Kiefer Sherwood is another guy who's this guy's AHL ready, or AHL caliber, but he had almost 30 points this season as well. Michael McCarron. So they got some players that are, again, when you see the names on paper, not that sexy, but as a whole, I would say better than you think. And I think the Canucks have better depth among the forwards and obviously better star power. But I do think the two forward groups are closer than most people think.
That's good, man. I hope that Vancouver knows that too. I hope Vancouver, because it's a busy time, right? It's a busy schedule. It's a busy, like, you just kind of focus on the games in front of you. And the Vancouver Canucks, beat Nashville every single time, I'm pretty sure. And now you're going to hear the pundits say similar things to me, right? Like, oh, look at the forward group. Look, who are these guys? You know what I'm saying? Look at what the other teams have, right? Dallas may play Vegas. Dallas may play LA. Edmonton's going to play Vegas. They may play LA. Winnipeg and Colorado are going to play each other. Vancouver has it easy. Vancouver's really gets rewarded like a first seed. If they hear all those things, maybe it gets in their head. That being said, speaking of getting speaking of getting in their heads, right? Again, what's going to really amp up this team who's kind of fresh into the playoffs, again, collectively, not as individuals, when they hear the crowd, whether it be on Sunday or Tuesday, when they hear Rogers Arena, give them the juice, bro, be careful, NHL. I feel as if a new level of Canucks hockey is upon us, and man, oh man, I cannot wait for this series against the Nashville Predators. We got to do the obvious too. I asked people in the Discord this last night around 11 p.m. Do you think people in Vancouver, or more specifically in the league, still underestimate Roman Yosi? Because down the stretch, you can make the argument over the last 30 games, maybe the last 5 games, that he was actually the best defenseman in hockey. So now the Vancouver Canucks have to play that guy for 30 minutes a game. You know how we talk about the possibilities of Quinn Hughes doing that to other teams? Well, we're kind of getting the same deal on the other side.
Yeah, and again, I think this is another reason why, the Predators and Canucks are, closer opponents, more evenly matched opponents than most people think. Kyle, I would agree with you. I think Roman Josi was the best defenseman down the stretch, and I think most people know the story now, but back on February 15th, the Nashville Predators lost 9-2 to the Dallas Stars. They decided that they didn't deserve to go see U2 because they weren't dialed in enough, and then they went on a 16-0-2 run. And a huge, huge part of that was Roman Josi. Just being an absolute menace from the back end. And, both these teams, too, have a really, really solid top pair on defense, right? Obviously, Hughes and Hronek, arguably the best defensive pair we've ever seen in Vancouver over half a century. The Nashville Predators, though, have Roman Josi and Ryan McDonagh. And McDonagh has turned back the clock. I mean, you look at the metrics, and he's been one of the best shutdown defensemen in the league this season.
Damn.
And so, I don't know if people are underestimating Roman Josi, but I look at these two back ends and they are kind of evenly matched. I mean, outside of the top pairs, the Canucks have more size, but the Nashville Predators have Jeremy Lauzon and our old friend Luke Schenn, who are two of the heaviest hitters in the NHL. They also have Dante Fabro and Alexander Carrier, who are better puck movers. So you could argue the Predators have better puck movers on defense. Canucks have more size. The Canucks statistically shut it down more. But again, you look at the forwards, look at the defense. These two teams are closer than people think. So I just don't want Canucks fans, and I'm not saying that. I think a lot of Canucks fans are pretty smart people. I just don't want fans being like, oh, we needed to face the Predators. This is going to be easy. It's going to be a cakewalk. It's not going to be an easy series. I think this is going to be a 6-7 game series for sure.
Damn. Well, I would make the argument that our forward group is actually a tier above theirs, or maybe a tier and a half above theirs if Pettersson wakes up.
Yes.
He's
and Lindholm.
And Lindholm. Okay, if you want to throw him in the mix too. I think if both those guys level up and play to their quote-unquote potential, I honestly think this series could be done in 5. And that's the other thing, right? I see a lot of people complain about the travel, right? We always like to make these scenarios up, right? Oh, playing Vegas and LA would be tough and hard, but at least the travel would be short. And now we got to go to Nashville every now and then. You know how you want to get rid of that problem? End the series in 5 games. Take one flight in the series. And it's possible, man, because, you want to bring up Pettersson, and I want to see it tonight. What happens if Demko's actually literally on his game? You know what I'm saying? And he's up against that 4 group. This could very easily be a very, very tough series for Nashville, who some are saying, just like us, overachieved. But I think when you look at the Vancouver Canucks roster, there's just more star power there.
Yeah.
If they play up to their potential. Because again, Pettersson down the stretch, probably in his last 32 games, has 25 points, 26 points. I'm pretty sure there might be 2 players on Nashville who are similar to that pace. You know what I'm saying? No, real talk. Because right now Pettersson's not playing like that guy.
Yeah. Well, I talk about the forwards being close, but Kyle, I think you hit the nail on the head. If you look at the centers down the middle, especially, I think this is where the Canucks have the biggest advantage. If Pettersson and Lindholm could figure out their games, because the Predators, their top three centers are Ryan O'Reilly, Tommy Novak, and Colton Sissons. The Canucks have Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, and Elias Lindholm. I mean, again, based on reputation, based on what we've seen, obviously Miller do this season, Pettersson to extent do this season, and Lindholm what he's done in the past, that's a huge advantage for the Vancouver Canucks. But again, those guys actually have to play for to the potential for that to matter overall.
Yeah. A lot of things going on. So excited. Nashville versus Vancouver. I think this is a series some people really, really wanted on this side because there's some people on the West Coast, the Best Coast. Maybe they're smart and they want to take the easier path to the finals because that stuff matters, right? Less games, the workload, the team you're facing, blah blah blah. I'm on the other side. And I'm just like, yo, bring on whomever.
Yeah.
But again, I can't stress it enough. It's really, really fascinating to see what all the other teams in the West have to deal with, and that's again legitimate Western Conference final tier opponents. This all being said, again, the Canucks cannot look at Nashville as the easiest choice here, because at the end of the day, you know how the Vancouver Canucks are a surprise team, a quote unquote surprise team. They're also a team that hasn't been here before. They have to act like that, They have to act like they've never been here before. They have to act like they have to work 10 times harder than their opponents to get to the other side in order for this series to be a 5-game series, man. I cannot wait, man. Nashville versus Vancouver. Take it back to 2011. Man, oh, man. Go Canucks, go. This series is going to be fun.
Seriously, man. And I got lots of notes on this. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to bounce early, Kyle. I know you're going to wrap up the show. But we touched on forwards and defense. So I do want to touch on the goaltenders real quick as well. You talked about, if Demko's on his game, it could be a problem for the Nashville Predators. Well, how about Yosi Saros on the other side, right? If Yosi Saros is on his game, he could potentially be a problem for the Vancouver Canucks, right? And Yosi Saros over the past couple seasons prior to this one was, one of the best, if not maybe the best goaltender in the NHL. Again, didn't win the Vezina, but he was a Vezina nominee 2 years ago. He was fourth in Vezina voting last year. He's led the league in games played in each of the last 3 seasons. The guy's an absolute stud in net. And, the only reason why I think the Canucks have the advantage right now, because, again, Demko's been, and for my money, the second best goalie in the league this season. But Yosi Saros, again, had a dreadful start, and that hurt his numbers, but he was red hot down the stretch. He's 15-3-3 in his last 21 games with a .916 save percentage. So That's nothing to sneeze at, right? 3 regulation losses in his last 21 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what's going to happen in net. But again, Canucks have more star power, but the defense is pretty close. And again, we got 2 of the best goalies in the NHL as well. So not to mention 2 of the most physical teams in the NHL, Vancouver 4th in hits and Nashville 5th in hits. So man, oh man, I'm excited on a number of levels, man. And I got more notes that I'll probably have to share on tomorrow's episode about, power play, penalty kill, and some other odds and ends. But I'm excited to hear what you have to say in the latter half of the show as I'm cruising to work here.
Yeah, one love for your effort today. I know Trevor's got a client. That's why he's wearing a suit. He's not wearing a suit because this is a playoff preview, okay? He's wearing a suit because he's got to bring the bacon home, okay? For real.
Yeah, I'm actually just wearing my my man thong. You just can't see below the bell right now.
Hey,
but
okay.
anyways, save that for the Discord. We're gonna cut to break. Kyle's gonna wrap it up here on Locked On Canucks, the playoff preview episode, part 1, I suppose, man. Because we'll be previewing this series until the puck drops, man. But let's shout out 2 of our beloved sponsors, starting with Monopoly Go and then Policy Genius. All right. I've been told I'm a competitive person, okay? I mean, I think that's partly true, and I'm feeling that competition with my Vancouver Canucks, man. I'm hoping they go all the way. And you know what? If you have a competitive side, you should try Monopoly Go, okay? I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you play not one, but hundreds of Monopoly board games in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you the big money. But the best part is messing with your friends. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties, just like classic Monopoly. But now I can also heist their vaults of riches for myself. And the leaderboards show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in time tournaments and earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now free on the App Store or Google Play.
Boom, boom, boom. Shout out to Monopoly Go doing its thing. I've never played Monopoly Go.
All right. We got Policy Genius here. A new sponsor. Welcome to the family, okay? But I got to let you know, Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams, okay? Policy Genius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step. Your work life insurance policy may not be enough to protect you for your family's needs. So guess what? You got to use Policy Genius, okay? Policy Genius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. Thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found it the best fit for their needs. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policy Genius. Head over to policygenius.com/LockedOnNHL or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/LockedOnNHL.
Okay, people, it's just me, Kyle Bhawan, doing the most here on Locked On Canucks for you and you and you and you and you and you as we preview this series against the Nashville Predators and just everything Vancouver Canucks heading into the playoffs. Man, oh man, again, the sun is shining. It's the middle of April, and you feel like yourself again, man. For real, for that, you got to give yourself a round of applause, okay? It's just the truth. Life is good. Escape with the Canucks. Let it bring some peace into your life and some stress. It's going to happen. That's life. But again, you're yourself again. And that is irreplaceable, man. Okay, for real. Go Canucks, go. Hey, speaking of being irreplaceable, right? We'll get to the comments. You guys are doing the most for us. But before we do that, can I talk about this? I want to see the comments go off about this subject, okay? Does Quinn Hughes play tonight? How many players did the Canucks rest tonight? And I specifically bring up Quinn Hughes because he has a 2-point lead over Cale Makar. Makar plays tomorrow against Edmonton. I wonder how much the leading statistic in defenseman scoring matters to a guy like Quinn Hughes and the Canucks. And I'll bring up this as well, right? Let's say Cale Makar does pick up 3 points or does play that game against Colorado and does lead the defenseman in scoring at the end of the season, right? Because Quinn Hughes didn't play tonight. I feel as if a lot of people in the East who barely watch Canuck games are going to give that vote to one of the best of all time, too, in Cale Makar. I guess what I'm trying to say, it's still pretty easy to vote for Cale Makar, especially if he leads defenseman in scoring for that Norris. And I wonder how much that matters to a guy like Quinn Hughes in the Vancouver Canucks. Now, I will say this. Going into Game 82, already looking forward to Nashville. I don't even give up about the Norris anymore. I don't give up about that, okay? I really don't. Maybe because, I believe he already has it locked up. I don't think the points matter too much. I think if the points mattered a lot, the pundits would also look at the fact that Cale Makar played like 4 less games or whatever the stat is and kind of put the math together that he would, end up leading this list of defensemen scoring if he played every game. All right, so I don't think the point system really matters. Quinn Hughes is going to get it based on his defensive metrics, the points, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I got to say this. Screw the Norris. Let's play all our cards right so Quinn Hughes is in line for the Conn Smythe. And it's a meaningless game in Game 82. Quinn Hughes going to log a lot of minutes moving forward. Quinn Hughes has played 81 games this season. I don't think he needs to play. The Vancouver Canucks have been fairly healthy this whole season. And a lot of things going our way. And something just feels awkward to me. Very awkward to me if the Canucks play a guy like Quinn Hughes. And maybe they don't have the resources to not play him, right? Based on cap, based on time, based on not being able to call players up, blah, blah, blah. But I just want to see Quinn Hughes, if that's the case, play like 9 minutes today. And look at the comment from D. Anderson. Okay, the Jets might try to beat them up. Think about this, right? And it could go vice versa too, because we may play Winnipeg down the road as well, right? But I think Anderson is onto something. Okay, I don't know if players are going out there necessarily to target players or hurt players, but man, they wouldn't mind leaving bruises on some of the guys they may see in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You know what I'm saying? It would be a strategy to make life tougher moving forward for Winnipeg if they were to, inflict some damage on the forecheck on a guy like Quinn Hughes, especially considering the fact that Winnipeg is locked into their position. They may play some guys in tonight's game who are going to be black aces but have a lot to prove. You know what I'm saying? That may lead to some danger for some of the Vancouver Canucks players. It's not just a Hughes thing. It's a Pettersson thing. It's a Brock Besser thing. It's a JT Miller thing. I mean, good luck trying to get JT out of the lineup. I feel as if he would throw a tantrum. All in all, though, I don't really need Quinn Hughes to win the scoring title for defensemen, okay? I really don't. Quinn Hughes, though, pretty competitive dude. I wonder how much it matters to him. I mean, we saw it last night, too, with the Maple Leafs, right? In a meaningless game for them, they played Austin Matthews so he could potentially try to get 70 goals. Same-ish here. But man, oh man, something just tells me in my stomach that this is not a card you want to play. Is that because of my trauma? Is that because I'm worrying too much? Maybe. But man, oh man, considering that the fact is that pretty much everything went right for the Vancouver Canucks this year, and they dealt with very minimal injuries. I know Demko was out for a while, Joshua, but that's 2 players pretty much the whole season, right? That's pretty good. I don't want them to risk that luck going into Game 82 in Winnipeg, a game that, again, does not matter. Anyways, let's get to the comments, okay? How about this comment from East Van Canucks, okay? Asking if the Sunday game, if there is a Sunday game, will be a 1 p.m. game. I hope not, dude. I hope not. Not a chance. If the Canucks play on Sunday, make it at 7 o'clock. A, because I'm pretty sure the Sun Run is on Sunday. And B, come on, do it right. And you know what right is? Whatever the game is, whenever game 1 is, I want everyone getting off work either early or right on time, right around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Get home at a reasonable time. Fire up the grill or the stove or the oven or the microwave. Get all the snacks ready. Use DoorDash. Grab your favorite brewski or your favorite non-alcoholic beverage or your favorite 420 instrument. And lean back, relax, and hope. Hope large. Because you're about to watch a playoff game. AKA feel like yourself again in April. The Vancouver Canucks are going back to the playoffs. If game 1 starts on Sunday, that game has to be at 7 p.m. It has to be at the ideal time here on the Pacific West Coast of Canada. Do it right. How about this comment, okay, from Gigatronic, who was fast enough to put the body on Roman Yosi? Miller, Pods, or Hoglander? I think Hoglander, man. I think Hoglander is going to make a lot of noise in this series. I think there's a 10% chance that he actually leads the Canucks in scoring if it's like a 5-game series and Pettersson's going off, his line mate. I think Hoglander has so much X Factor residue potentially all over him and dripping out of him. He seems like that guy, a fan favorite, and a guy that is going to benefit the most from the crowd, giving him the juice. These players, these Vancouver Canucks players, they have never heard Vancouver like the way they're about to hear Vancouver. Think about that energy, right? Straight up. How about this comment, man? Gigatronic, okay? Prime Rick Tocchet beats Prime Miller in a fight, a.k.a. I wonder how many conversations these two have had. Real talk, man. I was thinking about this a lot in the shower the other day. I was listening to like SportsCenter or something, and they were talking about how much of a miraculous season JT Miller put forward. And it's been somewhat of a miracle. You got to think about it, right? He pretty much got played as a quote unquote shutdown type of center all season long, right? He was the main guy. Not Pedersen, it was JT Miller. And consider this too, right? JT Miller really hasn't been a full-time center up until the last, 2 years? And for him to make the transition to not only be an offensive center, but to be that two-way guy is, again, a miracle considering what this guy was like defensively in the past. And I think that has a lot to do with Rick Tocchet. And I'm not saying these two had similar playing styles, but their intensity is definitely pretty similar. And now I'm thinking about the playoffs. Rick Tocchet, Stanley Cup champ. He knows how to get it done. He's played with a ton of good players. He's played with that intensity when the games mattered the most. I wonder how much of that translates into JT Miller doing the exact same thing. I could very much see these two players by the time, JT Miller's career ends, have very similar stat lines. And stat lines that also connect and showcase Stanley Cup champion. Rick Tocchet, your coach, man, of the Vancouver Canucks. Rick Tocchet, the alpha. Rick Tocchet, the champion. And I wonder what his speeches are going to sound like. His mantras, his philosophies are going to spiel to this team, man, for real, going into the playoffs. It's something else. It really is. Let's get to more of the comments. That's all we're doing for the rest of the episode, okay? The full playoff preview, Trevor Beggs, the analytical guy. We'll get into all the nitty-gritty details about the Nashville Predators and the Vancouver Canucks and do some team awards tomorrow. But man, oh man, let's just get into the comments, okay? How about this one? Andrew, many 82-game seasons to come. Okay, so this is a cool note, too. Maybe it's a big deal for some players like Quinn Hughes to play 82 games, and that's why you can't healthy scratch this guy, right? But again, who cares? Who cares? Who cares about the Norris? Who cares about playing 82 games? Go get the Conn Smythe. Go get the cup. Look at this comment from D. Anderson, okay? Garland is the most annoying type of player for a defenseman. That is the truth, man. This guy does not give up. He loses the puck. He'll get it right back within a second. He's full of tenacity. He's that guy. He's another guy that could have a very impactful series. I just used the term, a 10% chance of Höglander leading this team in points in a 5-game series, right? That's how much I believe in this guy. Dude, look at what Connor Garland has done over the last 20 games. He could very much be that guy. And look at me, right? I'm bringing it up. What am I bringing up? Bringing up some players that could potentially be a healthy scratch tonight, right? Pedersen, Besser, Quinn Hughes. Why am I not saying Connor Garland? That guy's work rate has been amazing. Amazing. Especially over the last 30 games. I'm pretty sure that he may be a little beat up, right? He may be a little bruised up. Why am I not giving him the benefit of the doubt and offering him a day off? Because he's literally been our second best forward for a long stretch of games here for your Vancouver Canucks. So what a player. Cannot wait to see him in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Look at this question from Frosty Balls. Not even a question, just a slogan. And honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot too, okay? The Vancouver slogan should be, they got to win to avoid the riots, okay? So I had this conversation at a bar in Mount Pleasant on Friday, right? With the homie. And I asked the homie, do you think the Vancouver Canucks are going to, go far in the playoffs? And do you think that's going to lead to the city of Vancouver allowing the people to storm the streets, fill up the streets, and create these viewing parties, right? Big screens in multiple locations along the streets. And again, let's replay 2011. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's give the people some neighborly love and bring the community together. Do you think that's possible considering the fact that this city has burned down the city twice? Because I don't know. For me, it's like, don't take that chance. Maybe there's something in the air here, right? But the friend I was talking to said this. And it made me think for the first time because I never thought about it like this. He told me that all the Canucks have to do is win. If they win, there will not be a riot. And I clapped back a bit. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's going to happen inevitably. But then you do the math, right? You do the math. Let's go back to 2011. If the Canucks win, there's less angry Canucks fans. And let's say there are some professional rioters on the streets, right? No matter what happens, they're going to try to burn something down. But again, if that's attached to a win, that's a lot less angry people that are going to join the party. That's a lot more heroic people who are going to want to defend Vancouver, okay? And put an end to the chaos. Kind of hard to be pro Vancouver, though, after a 4-0 loss in Game 7, okay? If they win, there's no riot. So I'm on that boat. Now, am I on the boat in supporting viewing parties? Even though for years and years and years, I've said no to the theoretical question, should the city allow it? But this time around, I got to say yes, man. You got to look out for the neighbors. Well, let's prove our past wrong. And let's hope the Vancouver Canucks win. Right? That energy, man. That energy. The playoffs coming back, man. Hope the Vancouver Canucks win. Look at this comment from Dale Smith, okay? Sam Lafferty is going to be big for us. He's playing his best hockey, I would say, over the last 3 games. Looking really fast, looking really motivated. Scored a beautiful goal against Edmonton last week. I wouldn't use the term X Factor alongside Sam Lafferty, but this guy has a lot to play for. Still playing for a contract. Still playing for legitimacy. And when he's at his best, he's a bit of a nuisance. And he could bring a lot to the table. You know what I'm saying? Sam Lafferty, Podkolzin, and Bluger, potentially a 4th line. That could work for the Vancouver Canucks. And a lot of that has to do with Teddy Bluger. Straight up. Man, oh man, dude. Look at the comments, man. Getting political. I like it. I like it, man. Your Canucks going back to the playoffs. One love to the Locked On Canucks community. A bit of an accelerated episode here. We're getting this morning show going. Trevor had to get to a client. I got to the studio 10 minutes late because of traffic. I apologize for the inconsistencies in this episode. But man, oh man, it's not going to be that way moving forward, okay? And who cares about us? Straight up. It's all about the Vancouver Canucks. As Frosty Balls is alluding to, right? The Canucks have been a great distraction from life this year. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And for whatever reason, these distractions have allowed me to feel more like myself. And I'll take that, man. I'll take that, man. It's funny what escapism can do, right? Not to get fully Deepak Chopra on you, but distractions, good ones, positive ones, right? Ones that come with wins. 50 wins. Escapism. It gives you that feeling, man. It gives you that prompt to stay in the moment. And when you stay in the moment, are you really distracted? You know what I'm saying? You aren't. This is what life's all about, man. You got to enjoy life. You can't take life so seriously. And it's so easy to do that when that sports team that you love is giving you hope. Look at this comment from Blank Snake Stare, okay? 94 Canucks superfan here. Time to seal the deal this year. Besides Bure, who do you like off that 94 team? Garland reminds me of Ronning. Man, oh man, who do I like off that 94 team? Besides Bure? I mean, I guess Trevor Linden. Right? Jeff Courtnall. Man, who's going to be that guy, though? Who's going to be that guy? You know, we keep making that joke, right? Quinn Hughes for the Conn Smythe. Who's going to be that guy? Like, you know, if you asked me 7 months ago, the easy choice for me, you know, for me, predicting the player that would do the most in the Stanley Cup playoffs would be Elias Pettersson. I'm still so high on that guy. And I'll be high on Elias Pettersson, the alien, for a very, 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 very long time. And he's the ultimate. Yes, the ultimate X factor. A bit of a question mark, too. What version of Elias Pettersson are we getting? The Canucks have played a large stretch of hockey here. I would say like 40 games, half a season, where Elias Pettersson, for the most part, in those 41 games, has not been that guy, has not been a tier 2 player in the NHL, right below the McDavids, right below the Matthews, right? And we know he can get there. And now all we have to do is close our eyes and ask ourselves the theoretical question, right? What if Pettersson gets back to being that alpha in that room, being the best guy in that room? Because right now he's number 4. Right now it's Quinn Hughes, JT Miller, Thatcher Demko. Then it's Pettersson. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how the Canucks got to 50 wins. They're getting to this point of legitimacy, contendership, without Pettersson being, again, the player we know him to be. And if he gets to that next level, the Canucks are Stanley Cup favorites. And he has more than a possibility of doing just that. Man, oh man. That's it, though, okay? That's it. I got to get out of here, okay? I got a busy day. I might be doing some DJing at a beer pong party a bit later, prepping for the playoffs. Got to edit a couple podcasts. My name's Kyle Bhawan. That's KYLEBHAWAN. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for letting us do this show at their studio. Man, oh man. We're back in the playoffs. Cannot wait. Hey, the West Coast bias, right? Doing its thing. And we got here, man. We made it. We made it. It's a beautiful feeling, man. Congratulations to you and you and you and you. The work is not done yet, but use this time to stay in the moment, to be around loved ones, to cheer for your favorite team, to go through it together, and not take life so seriously. I know life's tough, especially here in Canada right now, right? Like, things are so expensive, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's complaining about money, blah, blah, blah. Life is tough. I know, life is tough. But it's not going to be tough for a couple hours a day, considering that the playoffs are here and they're going to matter. And the Canucks have a chance to win the Stanley Cup, not just because they're in the dance, but because they have a pretty good team. A really good team. A team that's been first place pretty much all season long. Lean into that, okay? Wishing you the best of luck this postseason. Again, my name's Kyle Bhawan. That's another episode of Locked On Canucks. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be with you every day. Hit the link in the bio to join the Discord, because who doesn't want to talk about the Vancouver Canucks while you're taking a washroom break, okay? It's that easy. Don't scroll Instagram. Don't scroll TikTok. Scroll the Canucks Discord and see your life change. Have a great one. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good night. I love you. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks. Your